Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
Welcome to San Francisco Blockchain Week. This is one big show you're not going to want to miss. San Francisco Blockchain Week is known for bringing the creme de la crypto to one place in the United States. It's Bitcoin's 11th birthday. We're here at San Francisco Blockchain Week. Let's take a look inside. So fantastic. My name is Crypto Man Run. I'm the host of Crypto Trader. And of course, right here in the USA this week, the theme is all about the USA versus China. China's president, Xi Jinping, came out and said China's going all in on blockchain.
On Friday, Chinese President Xi Jinping stressed the role of the cyber technology. Xi believes blockchain can play a key part in the real economy.
How will the US respond? What's the mood here? Let's find out. Now, the US is king of the internet. But it seems like with a blockchain, that's not the case.
People are more fearful of change in a lot of ways. They've seen a lot of disruption.
This time it's kind of different because China has always been pro-blockchain, right? But like anti-crypto type of thing.
He also proposed fostering new models in the digital economy via blockchain to boost growth.
China is moving quickly to launch a similar idea in the coming months. Libra is going to be backed mostly by dollars, and I believe that it will extend America's financial leadership around the world.
Is it like navigating landmines all day long?
The regulation in the US is a difficult one, but I don't think we should give up.
But if America doesn't innovate, our financial leadership is not guaranteed.
And I would love to see, the people of America included in the great migration from fiat currency into cryptocurrency. And, I wouldn't want to leave any men behind.
Well, if that happens, it's only because of people like you.
I just think that we can't sit here and assume that because America is today the leader, that it will always get to be the leader if we don't innovate.
And it's essentially game on now for blockchain.
That's Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital capping off the montage. Here at San Francisco Blockchain Week, we'll have an in-depth examination of the state of crypto and blockchain with some of the biggest names in the industry, like Novogratz, Joe Lubin, and the aforementioned head of Pantera.
But this thing is way more important, it's going to impact billions of people's lives.
Are we, as the former CFTC chair put it, at America's Sputnik moment on the blockchain?
So I think it's a huge positive for blockchain. It's got, even the President of the United States is tweeting about Bitcoin.
We'll have serious cross-conversational dialogue on China's announcement, the US regulatory response, Libra, and what it all means. How often do you speak to the regulators?
We speak to the regulators quite a lot. We have an office based in Washington, D.C., and so we're there every day.
San Francisco Blockchain Week really felt like that aha moment. We talked regulation with SEC's Hester Peirce and not one but two congressmen.
This year, he's introduced a bill that would require cybersecurity risk training for all federal employees. But right now, you have recently written the Internet Bill of Rights and are focused on adding a blockchain section to that.
And we talked to Warren Davidson, co-author of the Token Taxonomy Act, working its way through Congress.
I think it's wrong to say that we can't hold on to the dollar if we embrace blockchain.
You'll see Charlie Shrem and Jesse Powell on stage in his Untold Stories podcast.
I hope you guys dressed up. I had to dress really nice today, put on pants.
I'm dressed as my favorite candle.
Yeah,
The green bull flag.
And speaking of candles and exchanges, we'll meet US-based exchanges playing in the sandbox, aiming for new user growth.
Well, first of all, yes, ICOs are not dead.
How long until blockchain-only companies start making money?
2 to 3 years.
So, I never thought I'd see the day where Alec Baldwin would be in a crypto commercial. What does that say about crypto?
I think we're doing our bit to try to get crypto into mass adoption.
Speaking of mass adoption, we keep seeing projects on the move. And plenty of VCs, funds, traders, devs, and again, even Alec Baldwin.
Just like you were too busy to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum.
If you want a big overall look at the state of crypto in the epicenter of Silicon Valley and San Fran, look no further. No one brings you the leading voices in one giant episode at such a pivotal moment like Crypto Trader. What sets San Francisco Blockchain Week apart from all the other conferences is that they have technical breakouts, developer workshops, and they have the main stage where all the big talks are taking place. People hear from protocols like XRP, developers, etc.
It's really vital that we engage developers and educate them.
Across the multiple halls, the exhibition hall, the main stage, the technical stage, the dev workshops, we saw the spirit of building by big names and small. We saw Coinbase tackling security with BitGo and others.
The other piece being the trust and safety of our customers.
We saw crypto OGs like Silvio Micali, a Turing Award winner and the Algorand founder.
Many of the audience might not be aware, but the two of you are actually joint co-inventors of zero-knowledge proofs.
So blockchains, if they have the right type of agreement, can actually be spurring innovation and can self-rejuvenating. And this is the blockchain we deserve and love.
The blockchain we deserve and love. And here it is again, a ripple of the building of the real-world economy.
So we have to solve problems. You know, the bottom line, you have to.
Which Ripple does. People use XRP today to move money cross-border every day. And people know Bitcoin has a use case.
See what we did there? Here's Michael Arrington of XRP Capital talking to, well, Ripple about what's working.
How do you get back to the original web, which is supposed to be more democratic, not controlled by, you know, the eight people that control it in the world today? XRP around things like web monetization, convincing content creators. There's a great company called Coil. Forte, another great example of a gaming platform.
T0 was talking with Matt Rozak from Block and Coindesk about construing the crypto roads and bridges and tunnels.
As far as the tunnels, I think it's things like connecting Wall Street to Main Street, trying to give access to capital to normal Joes and not the elite of Wall Street. And as far as the bridges that get us from here to there, where our vote is cast via blockchain, so we know it's safe and secure, we know it's auditable, but we also know it's secret and unique just to us.
Also important in so many talks, the need for privacy, given it was the true spirit of decentralization that started all this 11 years ago. Echoing it, Orchid on hand ahead of its VPN network launch.
So we're building a decentralized VPN on Ethereum, aiming to improve the issue of censorship and surveillance in a positive way around the world from corporations and governments.
A spirit that even these three big investment names seem to carry forth. Let's listen in.
And to me, that's the spirit that gets me excited every day. It's that we're doing something way bigger than just a trade. Like Mike and I have done a lot of trades over the years. It's been fun.
I mean, in just talking now, you all mentioned some sort of disruption. You're talking about disruption, Joseph. You mentioned the middle finger to the man. You know.
As Dan said, there are issues that are bigger than just making money. Privacy is something that drives me insane, and we're losing our privacy day by day by day by day. Democratization of finance, we've got huge income inequality everywhere in the world. Can we do something about changing that tide? My guy on the left here, he was like a religious zealot. I do think though all of us and all of you, that enthusiasm was great. The hard work is ahead of us.
So in that spirit of everything we've seen so far, with President Xi Jinping's big new bold blockchain stance on the books, we're examining Congress's tough talk on Facebook's Libra and what that spells out for innovation in the crypto and blockchain space. The panel of the titans, they called it. 3 titans up on stage talking about everything to do with crypto, including China. And while speaking about China, I heard an amazing analogy. It was the analogy of the Sputnik moment. Dan, tell me a little bit about the Sputnik moment.
The former chairman of the CFTC, Chris Giancarlo, wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying that Libra and the Chinese announcement are basically the Sputnik moment for crypto. It's forced our government and all the governments around the world to really address crypto. And so I think it's a huge positive for blockchain. It's got, even the President of the United States is tweeting about Bitcoin.
Tell us a little bit about what the Sputnik moment was and how it relates back to the analogy.
Yeah, the Soviets launched an orbital rocket way ahead of the Americans, and we realized there was going to be a race to dominate space. And Eisenhower and then Kennedy marshaled all the resources of the American government to get onto the moon by the end of the 60s. And that's basically what's happening here. There's going to be a race for a global digital currency, and it's essentially game on now for blockchain.
What do you think the Chinese government's intentions are with blockchain? I mean, the Chinese government is everything but transparent. Do you think that they want everything in China to be on a blockchain so that everyone can see what's going on?
I think it's twofold, that in all other businesses, they've essentially excluded Western companies and built their own copy of it, and essentially they're going to exclude Bitcoin and build their own copy of blockchain. And obviously they have a lot of surveillance, so that's likely to be part of this blockchain.
What does the US do next?
I think the U.S. should promote blockchain to thrive in the United States like we did the web itself, right? Most of the major web companies are U.S.-based. I think we should be very proactive in promoting blockchain from a regulatory perspective, and even, banking is often difficult.
From the web in the West to the web in the East. Making sense of all this China news for Crypto Twitter has been Dovey Wan. Let's get some further clarification from her. Dovey, what exactly did the president say?
So he clearly mentioned that China wants to gain the leadership position on blockchain technology development.
When he said this, in what context was it said? I mean, did he get up on stage and say, hey everybody, I've got an announcement and I want China to be leaders in blockchain?
Previously, so it's just slightly mentioned on blockchain together with AI and 5G, but this time it's a completely 100% dedication on emphasis on blockchain itself. And because the whole thing happened on a very core CCP internal, so it's a CCP internal meeting, and Xi Jinping basically took 1 hour or even more. It's a very lengthy speech and has a lot of detail.
Do you think that the Chinese government wants to promote a lot of Chinese blockchains? Things like Ontology, Neo, or do you think that they're specifically talking about the blockchains that power things like the digital renminbi?
It's definitely the digital renminbi, and that's the highest priority. And China has been working on de-dollarization, so for probably last 5-6 years, right?
And this is a way for them to beat the US and almost say, look, we've got a digital currency that works on a blockchain.
When it comes to digital renminbi, everything gonna be coming from the central bank, right? It's M0 basically. So it's one-on-one, so it's a full banking reserve. And basically digital renminbi gonna be a weapon and then gonna centralize the power of PBOC.
De-dollarization. These are major stakes. So let's go to a major player inside Congress. Congressman, thank you for coming back onto Crypto Trader.
Thanks a lot.
Congressman, I'm new to the US, and I watched Mark Zuckerberg being grilled by Congress the other day about Libra. A lot of those questions had nothing to do with Libra, and it became almost like a personal attack against Mark.
You've proven that we cannot trust you with our emails, with our phone numbers. So why should we trust you with our hard-earned money?
Well, Congresswoman,
reclaiming my time.
Is that what the spirit of this is?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes that's the spirit of Congress. That's unfortunate.
Now, the US is king of the internet, and that's because at the time they embraced .com TCP/IP. But it seems like with a blockchain, that's not the case.
Yeah, right now it seems odd because in a way, people understand enough about technology to be like, okay, so how's it work? A lot of people who are concerned about change, and really we're just in an era right now, unlike when the internet came online, that people are more fearful of change in a lot of ways. They've seen a lot of disruption and the pace at which it could change, and it has the idea that if we can't know everything that we already know, that somehow that's secrecy.
Is all of this the US panicking and trying very hard to hold on to the dollar?
Well, I think certainly some people are, and I think, we should try to hold on to the dollar, right? I think it's wrong to say that we can't hold on to the dollar if we embrace blockchain. And, for me, that's why it's so important as to how centralized is it, right? So the synthetic currency isn't inherently the same threat to the US dollar as a synthetic currency controlled by a central authority that can change the composition, nature, makeup.
And you're a much bigger fan of decentralized.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin is a much better approach. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin proper, but the idea that there's not a central authority that can change the value of it. And there's not a central authority that's going to filter your transactions, right?
I guess everyone missed the point, and Calibra is actually what we should be looking for. Congressman, it's been a great pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Keep fighting the good fight. Also fighting the good fight and asking the big question, renowned author Don Tapscott.
leaders of the old paradigm are often the last to embrace the new. Where's the Silicon Valley of the internet's second era going to be? Will it be in Silicon Valley or will it be somewhere else?
It's Bitcoin's 11th birthday. We are here at San Francisco Blockchain Week. Stay tuned for more Crypto Trader after the break.
Let me guess. You're too busy to watch this ad. Just like you were too busy to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Oh, who's a Gucci boo-boo? Who's a Gucci boo-boo? You're a Gucci boo-boo. You think trading crypto is hard? How hard is it to open eToro, pick a coin, and hit trade? Now, maybe you're thinking, but I'm just a food blogger. I can't do this trading stuff on my own. Well, I got news for you, pal. With eToro's social trading, you don't have to. This is called a news feed. It's like your social media feed if your social media feed had things that mattered. And if you've got any questions, just ask them. Observe. Can I pay my babysitter with Bitcoin? But sir, my brain can't handle more than 140 characters. Is there some way you could make things even easier for me? Why, yes, I can. With Copy Trader. Just find a top investor on eToro. How about someone with piercing blue eyes and a voice so husky you could pull a sled and hit copy? You. From now on, whenever they make a trade, you make the same trade automatically. Neato! I just made a trade automatically! I'm so proud of you, bestie. So join eToro and start trading the world's top markets. I got a plane to catch. Got it. eToro.
Welcome back to Crypto Trader. We examined some big issues facing crypto and China's all-in attitude towards blockchain. Now let's examine the US regulatory response.
That takes a lot of regulation.
We welcome
To dive in, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce patched into San Fran Blockchain Week. When asked this,
is the SEC planning to rewrite any of the securities regulations to fit the nature of these underlying assets?
She responded in regards to the Howey test.
A lot of people in the room probably know about the Howey test. That's the framework, the legal framework that we use to help us decide whether something is an investment contract and thus a security. I would say that many of my colleagues here at the SEC are of the view that that framework has worked well for many years, and there's no reason why it can't work in this context as well. My own view on this has changed.
And change is good.
And the SEC, I have sympathy. They're trying to see whether all these crazy new technologies are similar to or dissimilar from William T. Howey's Orange Grove in the 1930s. It's very hard to say whether.
1930.
Yeah, and it's an orange grove. Is Ethereum like an orange grove? It's pretty different.
Look at Blockstack, one of the first projects developing dApps to launch in this new framework.
The SEC qualified offering. So we were the first project who took the route of working with the regulators here in the US and doing an offering that is actually fully compliant with the applicable law.
Now, the ones really making this uphill climb are the exchanges. We spoke to some of the leading exchanges like Kraken, whose CEO Jesse Powell was talking to Charlie Shrem on stage.
We talked a little bit about listing coins. Coins listing on exchanges. If it's on Binance, it's amazing. If it's on this other exchange, it's not. That's a whole thing. You guys were very selective and careful about which projects you listed. What goes on internally in the token listing process?
Yeah, so there's a committee of people that are stakeholders in various parts of the business, from legal, compliance, engineering, who all kind of come together to review tokens and to decide, what should be the priority and whether to list something, and is it a security? Which geographies can we legally trade this in? Do we think it's a scam?
Now, I know you guys are a regulated exchange operating here in the USA, so this is a big question. And we heard those comments from the president of China last week. Do you think that those comments are going to stimulate the US or get the US to actually think, hold on, we actually have to do something here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've seen the market activity pick up substantially on that news, and I think if China does come out with a national coin, a tokenized version of their currency or something similar to Libra, that it will force the hand of the United States to respond. And I think we'll feel dumb that we weren't ahead of this.
Why do you think the US has been so slow to respond? Is it Is it genuinely because they want to protect investors? What is it that's holding the US back so much, where even China has opened up to blockchain?
Well, the U.S. is the world's reserve currency. You know, the dollar's the reserve currency, so there's a lot to lose. If you lose that position, you could see things like hyperinflation in the country, right? So there's a lot at stake. You know, I mean, in startup world, you usually want to disrupt yourself before someone else does it for you. But I think the United States is just in a position of kind of resting on its laurels, hoping that nothing changes, hoping that the status quo will be maintained because it's in the winning position now. However, you know, when it starts to see someone else really coming for its lunch, it'll be forced to do something.
How does this translate into traders here in the US? Are you seeing more new people coming into crypto? Are you at Kraken? Are you seeing a new sign up of accounts? Is the USA growing?
Yeah, well, the market's still growing, obviously. The U.S. market for us is only about 20% of our business, so we definitely see, you know, more happening in the rest of the world than what's happening in the U.S.
And you spend more time dealing with U.S. regulators than you spend dealing with the rest of the world.
Absolutely, it's probably flipped. You know, 80% of our compliance resources and legal resources go into the United States, where it's only 20% of our business.
Is it worth it?
I think it is still worth it because we see the pie as continuing to grow in the long term, and we're investing in the future. So I think the market's going to grow. I think the U.S. is a great market to be in. We're already here. You know, we've done so much work. I think it's and we can really shape the policy here.
Jesse, thank you so much. It's been
Thanks
a great
so
pleasure
Great
having you
catching
on
up with you again.
Also, a programming note. You can see Jesse's podcast appearance with Charlie Shrem streamed on our exclusive Live Planet virtual reality channel. See that and more from San Francisco Blockchain Week below. Newly navigating the regulatory headwaters here, Binance US. Even establishing a DC office. This is such an amazing interview for me, and you know why? Because you represent Binance, which is seen as an Asian company. I mean, it's CZ and it's Asian. Now, let's talk about operating in the United States. There is a lot of legislation, regulation.
And that's why Binance US has an approach to listen to the market, understand what it needs, and play within the rules we're given.
Do you think that it's the biggest thing that's slowing you down? I mean, is the fact that you're working with all these regulators around you, is that like the one thing that you spend most of your time on and is slowing you down?
No, I don't think this is the thing that's slowing us down.
What is this thing that's...
I think it's a digestible understanding of what cryptocurrency can really unlock. So users around the world are not burdened by the SEC's uncertainty. They're mostly burdened by their own fears. So understanding what this does unlock, the freedoms that it provides, the ability to have an opportunity or a job anywhere around the world, accept and monitor your own personal wealth, that is what's stopping people from adopting us.
How often do you speak to the regulators?
We speak to the regulators quite a lot. We have an office based in Washington, D.C., and so we're there every day.
And do you find that they are cooperative?
I think the regulators right now, they've got their heads down, focused on what they can do to both encourage American innovation as well as make sure that the customers are quite protected.
Regulatory headwaters aside, a number of exchanges were making headlines this week. In fact, Binance US eclipsed first $10 million and then the $25 million mark just this week. When you talk about 1 year forward in Binance, do you talk about number of users? Do you talk about daily trade? What are the metrics that you're measuring yourself against on a 1 year time horizon?
Sure. I mean, those metrics are as any good business would have, kind of the benchmarks that they're going to be going against. A lot of times we're looking at as captive users, ones that are already in crypto, and then new users, ones that have never even heard of the words digital assets. And for me, the more important side is gaining more market share in the United States that has never been able to feel comfortable enough to touch crypto.
So what you're saying is you're not going after the people that Coinbase has got, but what you're saying is you'd rather go for a new expanding the crypto market in the US. Well, look, we're super excited for your journey. I mean, you have a great brand behind you. You have great technology. You have a huge market to go out. And we really do wish that you get over all the hurdles.
It's a wonderful privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's Binance right here in the USA. Let's go take a look at what's going on at the conference. In perhaps the biggest exchange news, at least on crypto Twitter, was CoinList's Andy Bromberg taking the stage to talk about their latest investment from Twitter's Jack Dorsey. It's so good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
You made headlines this week through a raise that you guys did for your company called CoinList. You raised $10 million. that was the most notable set of investors that I've ever seen, including Jack Dorsey from Twitter. Why did Jack Dorsey invest, and what are you actually investing in?
Yeah, so we're really excited about our investors. Polychain led the round. Like you said, Jack Dorsey invested. What people are excited about is this idea of building a full stack financial services company for crypto.
And what are you using the money for? What are you going to use this $10 million that you guys raised?
Mostly for launching our exchange called Coinless Trade. This is a brand new product for us. For the last 2 years, we've been really focused on running token sales with a few other ancillary products.
Do we need another exchange? Do we need, I mean, there are hundreds of exchanges with thousands of coins. Why do we need another exchange?
It's a really good question. We have a lot of thoughts on that. The biggest thing we want to provide is a unified, smooth experience for investors. Right now, when you invest in a token sale, eventually those tokens are distributed to you, which is a painful process. You need to generate a wallet, give it to the issuer, they send you tokens, and then if you want to trade those tokens, you have to find an exchange that's trading them, put them on that exchange and trade from there. It's a cumbersome, error-prone process. What we're doing is making that unified, simple, and smooth, so that you can get your tokens from your token sale that you invested in on Coinlist, distributed directly into your Coinlist account and trade from there.
I thought ICOs were dead.
Yeah.
How are you raising money for an ICO platform?
Well, first of all, yes, ICOs are not dead. What happened is that in 2017 there was this boom, as everyone knows. Since then, the bottom of the market has dropped out. So the high-quality token sales are still happening. We ran the Algorand token sale earlier this year. Nervos ended last week. They raised more than $65 million. There is still demand from investors for high-quality token sales. There are still good projects out there. It's just that all the bad ones have disappeared in the last couple of years.
So this is like almost like the internet bubble of 2001, where there were a whole lot of projects. It died, but it didn't really die because then only good projects were able to raise.
That's exactly right.
The most interesting part here for me is to see how you've taken a business which has been ugly. ICOs were an ugly business, and you've actually managed to pivot it into something that is honest, big, and taken the concept and continued. And we're going to be following the story to see how you guys do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on Crypto Trader.
Thank you for having me.
So that's one headliner.
Building on OKChain. It's a good blockchain protocol.
On stage was another exchange arguing for regulatory clarity, OKEX.
We welcome everyone in. And thank you.
I'm going to pose some tough questions to them because it seems like exchanges are the only companies in blockchain making money. Enzo, 11 years into this very promising technology.
Sure.
And the only people making money are exchanges. Is that the way it's meant to be?
No, I think that the model will change, and we're one of the main exchanges who have our own chain, and we're really trying to support the entire industry.
But work with me here for a little bit. We're talking about this industry that today valued at, say, $300-400 billion. If you take
which is really nothing.
Which is really nothing. In this industry, nothing works except Bitcoin, and the only other thing that works is exchanges. Surely that's not a sustainable business model. Surely if the tokens don't start working soon, the exchanges are going to go down.
Right, and that's why it's important for us to make sure that the market does start to realize mainstream adoption. Blockchains being used across the board. OKEX and the other exchanges that are of size need to continue to invest and ensure that these companies are coming out.
Do you have a fund or an accelerator program to accelerate blockchain projects, which then eventually get listed onto OKEX?
That's Jumpstart.
So you've got that. If I talk to you again in a year, do you think that more blockchain companies are going to be profitable, or do you think it's still going to be an exchange game only?
I believe that you will start seeing blockchain companies that will have profitability.
What's the time horizon?
I would say in the next year, so there's two issues. One of them is you'll see companies that are already profitable putting blockchain and becoming more profitable.
Yeah, got
because
that.
they'll cut out costs and they'll fatten the actual margin.
What's the time frame for that?
Oh, I think that's very soon. I think that's within a year.
Okay, I don't agree with you, but okay. How long until blockchain-only companies start making money?
2 to 3 years.
Enzo, thank you so much for coming to
Thank you.
Crypto. So, that's exchanges. Now let's go and talk to the developers here in the heart of San Francisco Blockchain Week. What sets San Francisco Blockchain Week apart from all the other conferences is that this one's very technically focused and developer focused. If we take a look inside over there, we see protocols onboarding developers, and that's the spirit of San Francisco Blockchain Week.
So this is all like Rust stuff.
but how does it actually get turned into this error code?
Inside, we see Casper onboarding its ever-growing developer base.
So this is like your custom-defined errors.
Zilliqa launched its mainnet and walked devs through programming on its smart contract language.
I actually believe that we've got to educate wherever we can on our smart contract language. I mean, that's where adoption is going to come from.
Definitely from this conference, I hope they take away what is Tezos and what's great about it. And in the workshop, I presented several tools that make it much easier to develop a lot of smart contracts that are interconnected, kind of like Docker files.
So then you'll be able to say things like Tezos client transfer from your address to some other address, and it'll automatically authenticate you.
Elrond and Elastos were hand rolling out their latest code.
What it is we built our own browser for mobile devices, iOS and Android, and these are components and they're ready to be used, in native applications. All the SDKs are already available.
Where else, really and truly out of East DevCon, do you see actual code being deployed to roll out tech in person?
And this is all up and running in the testnet.
There was even a Lightning Node workshop here.
So if everybody can go to this GitHub address at the bottom here, which is github.com/AlexBosworth, run LND.
How many of you are running a Lightning Node? There you go, if you want to get started.
You run your node all the time.
And Cosmos was on hand growing its team.
Cosmos is launching a demo version of IBC at DeFi Hackathon. IBC is like TCP/IP for blockchains. It allows Cosmos-based chains to move tokens from one chain to another, and eventually it'll be able to move data and do smart contract calls. And I just think that using these highly programmable blockchains like the Cosmos SDK built in Go makes it really easy for developers to just get the best work done.
Let's cross over to Monica Puchner, who's on the floor to get a real feel of what's going on here at San Francisco Blockchain Week.
And how the market's changed. There's been some recent news with China. What do you think that impact is going to be like for the markets in the next couple of months?
So I think in the next 6 to 12 months, what we're going to see in the Asian markets is actually some competition for companies like Binance and OKEX and Huobi and things like that as China starts to roll out more institutional products from the state.
Do you expect trading to come online again soon in a big way in China?
Yes, I think so. I think the China news is interesting for a couple of reasons. For the U.S. in particular, it really lights a fire under our regulators and under our organizations to say we cannot ignore this technology anymore.
China's not affecting us too much. We actually have a lot of interest in Chinese projects that are building on top of Cosmos. One of them is called IrisNet. But yeah, everything's going fine right now.
What do you think the markets are going to do in terms of the Bitcoin halving coming up here in a couple months?
Then price doesn't get impacted because it's already baked in.
Do you think the Bitcoin halving will have an effect?
No, I don't think so, no. I also think that a lot of these currencies are going to be used a lot in Latin America and in India, and I mean, you're seeing it already.
I think it's a good time, but of course, I'm looking at Bitcoin at the moment, so.
Going in lockstep with some of the regulatory developments as we see governments get more comfortable with the technology and we kind of walk them through it and help educate them, I think we'll definitely see more institutions getting involved.
The swath of companies that are here, it really shows that the blockchain industry is growing up. There are a lot more established companies here. We're done messing around.
Yeah. What's the rest of the year look like for the market?
A lot of the people that were really excited about the price have gone, and the people that are building are still here building and announcing very soon.
ICO craze, crypto winter, and now a little bit of a rebound.
Potentially, yeah.
Thanks, Monica. It's Bitcoin's 11th birthday. We are here at San Francisco Blockchain Week. Stay tuned for more Crypto Trader after the break.
Let me guess. You're too busy to watch this ad. Just like you were too busy to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Oh, who's a Gucci boo-boo? Who's a Gucci boo-boo? You're a Gucci boo-boo. You think trading crypto is hard? How hard is it to open eToro, pick a coin, and hit trade? Now, maybe you're thinking, but I'm just a food blogger. I can't do this trading stuff on my own. Well, I got news for you, pal. With eToro's social trading, you don't have to. This is called a news feed. It's like your social media feed if your social media feed had things that matter. And if you got any questions, just ask them. Observe. Can I pay my babysitter with Bitcoin? But sir, my brain can't handle more than 140 characters. Is there some way you could make things even easier for me? Why, yes, I can. With CopyTrader. Just find a top investor on eToro. How about someone with piercing blue eyes and a voice so husky you could pull a sled and hit copy? Yeah. From now on, whenever they make a trade, you make the same trade automatically. Neato! I just made a trade automatically! I'm so proud of you, bestie. So join eToro and start trading the world's top markets. I got a plane to catch. Got it. eToro.
Let me guess, you're too busy to watch this ad. Just like you were too busy to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. I've got a bunch of kids here with toys. How am I doing?
Extremely well.
Extremely well.
Extremely well.
I'm not Alec Baldwin, but I mean...
Getting close, getting there.
Yeah. So, I never thought I'd see the day where Alec Baldwin would be in a crypto commercial. What does that say about crypto?
I think we're doing our bit to try to get crypto into mass adoption. So we're taking tier 1 celebrities like Alec Baldwin and getting them in front of cameras and getting them to say that they're, into crypto. And I think that's fantastic to get the crypto out there and get more people to adopt it.
So let's talk about the serious stuff behind the ad, because the ad's a very cute ad. But it actually talks about the fact that you now have CopyTrader in the US on crypto.
That is correct.
So that's 3 big things. I mean, tell us a little bit about what CopyTrader allows people to do.
So CopyTrader allows you to find people who have been proven to outperform the markets in their trading strategies. And you can see their real track record with their own real money, how they're doing. You can see their portfolio, you can see their transactions, and you can see also how they explain themselves. So because we have this social feed, they explain themselves, so you can see it's not a fluke. You can see their statistics, you can see everything but the exact dollar value in their portfolio, and then you can decide if you want to copy them. And then you click, the button, the copy, and then all their open positions will be open in your portfolio on a proportional basis. And from that point onward, every time they trade, you will trade at the same time, same price.
That sounds like a great deal for me, because I'm potentially making money copying somebody else. What's in it for them?
Money and fame.
Money and fame.
Right. So they are getting, in the US, we're starting with a limited time proposal of getting $1 per copier per month for those who are being copied. And we will soon thereafter introduce the model that we have outside of the US, which is a 2% of assets under management or assets under copy to be paid for the popular investors who is being copied.
So at 2%, and under the assumption that eToro has 10 million plus users on their network, I think you used to advertise that you got 11 million.
Correct.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a business. If I'm a good trader, that's a real way for me to make additional money over and above the money that I'm making trading.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a lot of people who are making secondary and primary income just managing their own money at eToro. We've announced a couple of weeks ago a partnership with a company called The Tie that developed a really interesting investment model based on sentiment analysis out of Twitter. And that strategy, when we back-tested it, have shown to outperform either Bitcoin independently or a basket of currencies.
So are you telling me that Twitter is right?
I can tell you for certain that doing sentiment analysis on Twitter is a major predictor of price movements of crypto assets.
Going forward, a predictor, not a backward.
Correct, is a major predictor of price movements in crypto.
I mean, I'm shocked. I always thought that Twitter was the most toxic place to get investment advice.
It is. However, if you had invested in this investment strategy, as of October 2017 leading to June 2019, your portfolio would have returned 281%.
Which is way more than the market.
Which is more than Bitcoin that at the same time period returned about 150%, and more than an equal allocation portfolio of the 13 coins in the strategy that returned about 53% in the same time period.
Well, that is incredible. That is incredible, and that means that I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun. That brings to an end our coverage of San Francisco Blockchain Week. Next week we'll be in Malta. Until then, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun, and you should trade well, my friends.